I don't have to be the one to tell you that Pizza Tower rocked the world. The team at Torta Pizza showed an unmatched level of creativity and polish, with a voice completely unlike any indie game that's come before it. Personally speaking, the game is one of my favorites of all time, and the team is one I'm going to be following for years to come. I've been very jaded about indie games. It feels like most of the output is roguelikes, Metroidvanias, and other genres that I'm not really into personally, with only an occasional diamond in the rough jumping out. And if it's not one of those few genres, it's a name-swapped clone of a better, more popular game. Seriously, never look at the Monster Catcher tag on Steam. You will feel dead inside. And no, that doesn't make me cool, it just makes me isolated from my peers. You really don't want to be the guy that brings 3D Munchman to the function. Like, come on man, there are children here. Regardless, any kind of follow-up to Pizza Tower, either a direct sequel, a spin-off, or just another game for the same developers, will be something worth keeping an eye on. And on a stream of Dr. Robotnik's Rain Racers, another all-time favorite, we saw it. Woon. What the fuck is a Woon? When I first saw this character, I thought it'd be for like a Christmas update. Woon, Winter, Moon, kinda looks like Pizza Face and Pumpkin Face, sure. And then we saw Crazy Chicken and the world was never the same. Rumors and fake leaks persisted before the reveal, with various Pizza Tower continuations being thrown around. From a Mr. Stick update to this weird Rayman Legends-esque 2D platformer. I'm really glad that these are either fake or just scrap concepts, because if I was waiting for a new game from Torta Pizza and I saw that there was another 2D platformer in the same universe, I mean, I'd eat it up, but I'd be really scared that they were going to only make those and fall into a rut. These basically all got deconfirmed with Woon, thankfully, and my mind immediately started racing. There was this really cryptic tweet posted by McPig of your game and the games that inspired it that I swore up and down was some kind of code for what Woon was. Toe Jam and Earl, Ski Free, Snood, and something I didn't recognize at first but was told as Run Man. Never heard of that, but I do know what Snood is. As I said, isolated from my peers. I drew up this theory about Woon being a 4-player thing like Toe Jam and Earl, an exploration-focused roguelike, with Woon acting as an equivalent to the Ski-Free monster, a mysterious and scary entity that shows up to hunt you down. I felt really smart for this until they randomly posted gameplay footage and it's a beat-em-up. Okay. This got me really excited, but I'm also really scared. Beat-em-ups are... like, I like them, but man, even the ones considered the best of all time are pretty damn button-mashy and get monotonous. Woon is going to have to work overtime to prevent the stigma, but considering the team, I really do trust them. I really do trust Torta Pizza, but regardless, I have a few wishes and predictions as to what the game could be, and what I really want it to be. Melee combat is genuinely one of the hardest to design systems in an action game. While there's plenty of experimentation in the respective genres, we've kind of figured out platforming and shooting. It's ignorant to say that they're completely solidified, as games are still trying to figure them out, my own future games included. But the main problem is that even in the most boiled down contemporary versions, platformers are much easier to engage you with. You need to be constantly moving and jumping, avoiding obstacles, and shooters have a lot of DNA in common with that. Looking at some of my favorite platformers and shooters side by side, they both have very dynamic bobbing and weaving to them, rewarding movement and precision as you deal with the obstacles at hand. Platformers have variety segments, stage gimmicks, power-ups, etc., and shooters have ammo and different weapon types to spice things up, with quick decision making as to whether the rocket launcher is useful here or not. While games of melee combat systems have a much more uphill battle. It's a significantly more limited system due to the closeness you have to be, whereas shooters can be either close up or far away, with shotguns being close up, sniper rifles being long range, etc, etc. There are some incredible combat systems like the Batman Arkham games and Hi-Fi Rush, but it's much harder to translate those into Woon, with Arkham being single-player and in full 3D and Hi-Fi Rush being a rhythm game. Yakuza has experimented with something similar to weapon switching with style swapping, but I think it's a lot harder to entice the normies to use a different full combo list than just swap machine gun to shotgun. I wonder if a stamina system would work, where each style has a stamina bar that's drained on use and slowly refills, with running out forcing you to switch styles. However, swapping in the middle of a combo will give you a stamina boost related to how long you can keep the combo going. So the optimal strategy is to chain together long combos and play chicken with how long you can get the stamina bar before swapping over and gaining a massive bonus. Although for Woon, giving multiple fighting styles to each of the 4 characters kind of sounds like hell. But that's me speculating. Let's see what they actually have in store. Looking at the preview footage frame by frame, I noticed a few interesting details. Crazy Chicken appears to pull off a basic light combo here, that being enough to kill the basic enemy. Beat'em-ups majorly struggle with spongy enemies, first-person shooters kinda struggled with this too, so I think this is a good idea, especially with the enemy counts we're seeing. There's also a grab move, always appreciated. I theorize you can throw the enemy in multiple directions. It looks kinda like a Smash Brothers grab, where there's a pause as you're holding the enemy until you pick a direction on the stick. The hitbox is also very generous, damaging both the grabbed creature that I'm calling a Woonanite.
Our culture is advanced beyond all that you can possibly comprehend with 100% of your brain.
And another one nearby. Most interesting is this little moment here. Instead of performing the basic combo, CC starts to, but performs a different kick animation. On my initial writing and recording, I thought this was some kind of heavy attack, but on closer inspection, this is actually a forward throw. This basically confirms my theory. I still had some points to say about it being a potential heavy attack though, so I'm gonna continue as if I didn't know that. This appears to be an early launch move, breaking the combo early, maybe a heavy attack, and I'm interested as to why this exists. Yeah, heavy attacks are common in these games, but I wonder if there's going to be a reason for it. There's these guys in Scott Pilgrim that are immune to normal moves and requiring a certain move to put them in hit stun like this heavy kick here, and they might do something like that. Kung Fu Chaos, one of my favorite games, has something like this as well in the single player. The game's normally a multiplayer brawler, but there's different enemies that require several different moves. This guy needs to be hit with the slow unblockable move, this guy needs to be grabbed, etc, etc. I'd really recommend this game in general, and especially to Torta Pizza to look into. Even though it's a fighting game, there's beat-em-up elements within the single player, and it's very fun and addicting. Genuinely, this game is fantastic. Take everything from it, but
My greatness must be rubbing off on you, so keep up the good rubbing.
yeah, that. Finally, the most minor thing in the world, but I noticed that the Woonanites appear to have a big wind-up to their attack. It seems like enemies are going to have tells, so I wonder if the combat's going to be very counter-focused, kind of like the Arkham games. Pizza Tower used to have a ton of weird combat mechanics like various guns, kung fu, a chainsaw pizza cutter. It was very interesting, but didn't fit in the game, so it's going to be very cool to see McPig basically pour all of their needs to make an intricate combat-focused game into this. Maybe the heat meter will come back. It was a very bad idea for Pizza Tower, but it might work excellently for a beat-em-up. The idea being that the more enemies you kill, the harder they get, but the more points you gain. This would be really smart for this game, another way of spicing things up, especially since it carries over Pizza Tower's genius invisible difficulty. Oh, right, I had to explain what that is. Okay, so basically invisible difficulty is this idea in game design where instead of a binary easy, medium, and hard, you have a dynamic difficulty that changes based on the player's choices. In Sonic, the easy mode is getting to the end of the stage, treating reigns as simply health and prioritizing completion, everything else being secondary, and the hard mode is getting a high score, or in later games get an A or S rank, caring much more about ring count, killing enemies, collecting stuff, etc., since they all add to your score. The game itself doesn't change a pixel, but seeing it in a new light adds tons of depth and challenge. Pizza Tower's easy mode is getting to the end of the stage and collecting enough toppings to buy a boss gate, while the hard mode is collecting the treasure, finding the 3 secrets, and getting a higher rank, the highest challenge for 100% being the S rank, with a final hidden challenge of the P rank. If Woon really wants to be a slam dunk, I think it has to create a similar difficulty slide. You can maybe reuse the P rank concept, but you can probably think of something more fitting. Maybe there's a challenge where, in the first wave of enemies, you have to get the heat meter to the very top and keep it around 90% or more for the entirety of the level. Or maybe you need to get a super high combo or something. I think this game would benefit from having the same score attack mentality as Pizza Tower for sure, just applied differently. Having to do an equivalent of P ranking with friends sounds extremely fun, but also an opportunity to want to murder your closest buddies. So extremely fun. Overall, I really do trust this team to pull something off, but going with an arcadey beat-em-up is a bold move that might cost them. Following up Pizza Tower is an extremely daunting mission, but Woon shouldn't be trying to surpass the quality. The goal should just be to make a really good game that feels like it had a reason to exist. You can't make a 10 out of 10 each time, and that's okay. You should just strive to make the best and most uniquely you experience you can, and that's enough. Speaking of uniqueness... From what we know, Woon currently only has 5 characters. It's safe to assume Crazy Chicken, Blimply, Clownputer, and Mr. Smiley will be the playable roster, with Woon as the main antagonist. This roster is already fucking hilarious, and really feels like McPig is digging deeper into that Earthworm Jim-esque 90s insanity. The Moon antagonist invites a space theme, and I personally love space alongside weird, themeless casts, so this currently has much more aesthetic appeal to me than Pizza Tower, which was comparably much more tame with having a centralized theme. Holy shit, did I just call Pizza Tower's design tame? game isn't that crazy to say. Regardless, these characters seem like the worst possible beat-em-up cast, considering half of them don't have arms and one of them doesn't even have legs. But I think that helps them stand out a lot more, and it's very funny. Other beat-em-ups, especially the Ninja Turtle games, sometimes struggle with who the fuck am I? And the zany art fixes that completely. I'm made in Clownputer. He's purple, he's based on Bozo dubbed over, and he's adorable. But I love all four of them. The best compliment I can give to multiple playable characters is when I look at the cast and go, oh, this character is definitely the pick for one of my friends. There is a chance there'll be even more than this initial four, but I think that entirely depends on how mechanically complex and unique each character is. Like, if they all basically play the same with a different special move like Scott Pilgrim, then I can expect and hope for a handful of extra goobers, maybe 2 to 4 unlockables. Alternatively, if the 4 are extremely different or have a ton of moves, I can imagine having to animate and program like 8 characters isn't feasible. Just picking a different one each playthrough is enough at that point. Castle Crashers is like 8 million characters, but they're able to reuse assets for them pretty easily. So we're more likely to get a Scott Pilgrim scenario, with 4 characters by default, maybe 1 or 2 unlockables, and a couple extras updates or DLC or what have you. Speaking of characters we know, there's Woon. I don't like them. They make me feel like I need a shower. No, but really, Woon is a really weird character since they're the title of the game and the antagonist, but I somehow feel like I know less about them than fucking Blimply, and Blimply has appeared like once. They feel very similar to Pizza Face, but are less threatening and more like gross. The initial reveal made them seem really intimidating, but basically everything else just makes them... Like, if I may repeat myself, these Wooninites make me feel like showering. I want to punch them. So, good enemy designs, though. I wish I could say more, but there's literally 6 characters we know of. What do you want me to say? You want me to talk about the background for 10 minutes? It looks like a cartoony surface of the moon, or maybe some kind of rocky mountains. Mountains would make more sense with what appear to be sticks and rocks, except for this fucking wrapper right here. I've spent hours thinking about what this could possibly be, and I have no idea. It's either a condiment pack, a card of some kind, like a condom wrapper? None of these make sense. If I ever interview McPig, my #1 question is going to be, what the fuck is this stupid rectangle? Is it pasta? Are we in pasta world? Are we still in food world? Get me out of here. Anyway, there's also this block. I'm gonna assume this is a debug feature of some kind, but if I had to guess, it kind of looks like the bottom half of an arrow, so maybe it's a jump pad of some kind. Like, you can switch layers like in Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds. Who the fuck knows what Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds is except me? Don't care, it's great, get the remaster when it comes out. The original is delisted, but it still rules. Editing me, replay it, and put it in here if it actually sucks. I've been mostly speculating about what's here and what we know and what I think a good approach might be, but here's where I'm just gonna dream. 55 characters, 55 levels, 55 bosses! I think it's pretty safe to assume Woon is gonna be fun. The energy it evokes is already just plain enjoyable. But what I'm really hoping for is depth and replayability. I hope a lot of the score attack mentality from Pizza Tower is translated over, with maybe a ranking system similar to Spectacle Fighters. And with that, a combat system where such a challenge feels justified. My favorite beat-em-up is probably Scott Pilgrim, but my white baby ass grew up with it, so I can easily see a nostalgic bias. The RPG elements in the shop really benefited the game's replayability, as there's tons of cool stuff you can do with the shops and items. In the teaser, you can see what looks kind of like a coin flying out of a dead Woononite, so I think some kind of shop system like River City Ransom or Scotty P is a lock. You have no idea how badly I want to see McPig draw various weird shopkeepers and the dumbass items they sell. While earlier I was speculating the cast will be pretty small, I really do hope we get more characters with varied movesets. I definitely want to do a 4-player run the first time with the boys, then unlock a brand new character and try the game again single player. But if the combat has enough depth and the campaign is consistently fun enough, I'll be replaying it either way. I just hope I have a reason to play it a million times. Pizza Tower was smart with having clothes you had to play on a new save file to unlock, and I hope there's an incentive like that in Woon, assuming it's around the same length. But those are all my wishes for the mechanics. Aesthetically, I'm really hoping for plenty of exotic environments, a lovable cast, and just something memorable. As I said, space is my favorite theme, and if they go all in on it, with you traveling the galaxy to stop this disgusting moon, you have no idea how sold I am. It's wishful thinking, but I really hope there's a strong atmosphere. I always like it when games clash beautiful environments with zany characters. That's just me dreaming though. I'm happy with any tone as long as we get great art and music out of it. I hope this expands the world the Pizza Tower set up, kind of implying that this is what the outside of the tower looks like. Even if it's purely visual, getting some world building will make me gush. McPick isn't really much of a writer, so my dream of getting a lore book like At Least There Is Cheta Chetovich will probably never come, but the Tour de Pizzaverse is ripe for world building as an excuse for jokes, similar to Discworld or especially Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Seriously, Tour de Pizza, if this is gonna be space themed, read this goddamn book. So while it's unrealistic, I would kill for some wacky goofball lore. Fuck, I'll do it myself. Tour de Pizza, hire me. I'll literally do all the writing for you. Look, here's my pitch for Crazy Chicken. This isn't perfect, but damn it, I want something like this. Even just having, like, Gustavo show up as a background character, Mr. Sticker and Noisette as one of the few shopkeepers would be so cool. Woon doesn't have to be forcefully tied to Pizza Tower, but just having a singular cameo invites a lot of thinking about the greater verse. Fuck continuity, blow up the earth at the end. I just like interconnection like that. Discworld does this all the time, with each book being its own story in an interconnected world. I think that's it. As I said in the beginning, Pizza Tower is one of my favorite games ever, and feels like the breath of fresh air that indie space needs. We're already seeing games that are directly inspired by it popping up that know they need to make up their own identity. Boombuster is extremely exciting as a game that has a similar art style, but feels extremely different in terms of tone and design. Feeling much more Newgroundsy with the goofy enemy designs. Look at this! This is my favorite enemy! That fucking goblin is my favorite enemy in the game. I forgot that he can lose. Oh my god, I'm so distracted right now. I bet you in 10 years we're gonna see people shit on Pizza Tower for being the generic MS Paint animated goofball action game. The circle completed itself as punk becomes contemporary. And I genuinely think that's cool. Having such a unique voice impact so many people and flip the script so hard that it's seen as passé in a decade is like the ultimate accomplishment as an artist, and something I often dream about. I'll be following Tour de Pizza until I'm dead. Just please try and not take 5 years on this game. Oh, and while I have you here, my card game Media Thieves received a massive update the same day this video goes up. It's a fun little party RPG card game you can play with your friends. Big, funny, haha crossover stuff. There's even Pizza Tower in it, jangling the keys! So go play that if you want, either on Tabletop Simulator or just print it out yourself and play it physically. Oh, and donate to my Ko-Fi. If I get 10 members, I'll make a Discord, jangling keys again!